Hi, students. I just wanted to go over make a quick video on the process of doing the group project that you've been assigned in the roles course. I've heard from a few students that they're feeling overwhelmed by it, that it seems like a lot. And I understand when you're reading the instructions that it can feel like a lot. So I just wanted to go through it to show you um, how to approach it and that it really isn't, if you do it in little bites, really not that much work. So the student prep is just reading 4 articles and reviewing a couple articles that you have already read. I understand like the first 2 articles are actual research studies. So when you're approaching reading an article that has some research in its statistics, just read the abstract. It gives you a quick overall of what why they were studying, what they studied, and what they found very quickly. The introduction and the like this part is conceptualizing feedback process. So this article itself is kind of are we asking the right questions to get non-biased, valuable feedback, or is the way we're asking kind of affecting that? So reading these first couple sections is beneficial. And again, we're just looking at, are we measuring what we value or are we valuing what we measure? So maybe the wording has reduced what we should be looking at. And this talks about the present study. And right here are the actual questions that this study set out to answer. The next section, the materials and methods, is really just how they conducted the studies and the statistics that they used to analyze their findings. So this can be overwhelming. You certainly feel free to just, go through this. These are the questions that they looked at. I don't know that you're going to garner really a lot of valuable information from reading the methods section for the project that you have assigned. So feel free to kind of just skip those if they feel overwhelming when you're reading them. This kind of talks about the process, the evaluation process, and then here the discussion is they're kind of talking about what they find and the relevance to it to their research questions. And as you go on, the end of it kind of talks about, even here, they give suggested reframing, alternate ways to ask questions so that you're really getting the answers that you want to get that will give you valuable information. So that's how to approach that one. The next one is also a research question. Is about specifically about bias. And this study, here's the abstract. Again, you're going to review the introduction, kind of, talking about why they did it. Here's the background on it. And then right here are the research questions. What did they ask in this study? This is what they were trying to get out. Again, this methods section can be overwhelming and not relevant to probably more in depth and not relevant to what we're looking for, what you need the information for. We know this is a peer-reviewed article. I've assigned it to you. You can trust that the findings are good. You don't have to go redo the statistics. So this section, I mean, certainly feel free to read it if it's interesting to you, but not something that's going to give a lot of benefit to our study, to your assignment rather. So read the discussion section and then the conclusions. This is kind of what they found on that. So those are the important pieces to read there. The next two, this one is just a short article on how to create a bad instrument, so what to avoid, right? And this one is how to create an effective instrument. Also just a short little how-to article, and then you have the 2 that you had read. So after you've done that individually, everyone should do all of those readings on their own. And then you're going to come into your instructions for the group project. Here's the learning objectives, here's the group assignments, and the instructions are 1, to review the literature, which you have done, and then get together as a group, your 3 or 4 students who are in your group, talk about what you found, how you want to approach the work of this group project that you have to do, and compare what you each found in your individual study. So talk about it. I'm sorry, individual critique when you were critiquing one of the current nursing program student surveys. Did you all find that we were missing certain things? You didn't like the way certain things were answered, they were asked, there were, the way it was organized, whatever. What were your findings collectively that you kind of want to bring together to when you're writing your own survey? And the next thing is to kind of organize it. So if you think about the categories, what are the broad categories that you think are important to include in a survey of a course or of a program? And I gave you a list here. You're welcome to use this list. You're welcome to use some of them and not all of them, or to create your own, whatever you're finding based on your readings and your discussions when you talk with the group members about what you think is important to include in the survey. And then when those categories, you're probably going to hierarchy those, like this category is really important. We can think of 4 or 5 different questions that we want to ask in this specific category. And another one might have 1 or 2. So that's really based on, there's no like methodology to that other than the your reading and what you're finding. And then so after you have the categories, you can write the questions. These are the questions we want to ask. And I added to the instructions just an example of how somebody would write a survey. You've all read our surveys, they were assigned to you, so you see what they are, but it really just starts with the instructions. How does the person who's taken the survey take the survey? So I copied it over the paste and pasted from one of our surveys. I'm not sure which one it was, but those are their instructions. Write your own instructions for the survey, not these, and improve upon them. And I included a table. If I were going to set up a survey, this is kind of the way I would do it. And you can either start with strongly agree here, and then or strongly disagree or strongly agree. You can do it either way, whatever your findings in the evidence show that you prefer to do if it talks about those. And then you're just writing the questions here. And this is when you're hand it in, this is your survey. And at the bottom, you're going to add 2 to 4 open-ended questions. If you need more, certainly you can go beyond 20, and 20 is the minimum. But if you're finding that there's a couple more that you really add, go ahead and add them. Please don't go beyond 30. Okay, that is the actual survey that you're going to hand in. So once you've done that, the evidence table, you're just going to come over here and you're going to tell us what categories did you use. Just type them here. You don't have to do anything beyond just typing in the categories so that we know what the categories are that you used. And here you're going to put each one of your questions in these spots, the category that you had it under, and then the design decision. So what about this question makes you think that it is a good evidence-based question to include in the survey? And you're going to just go back to one of these 6 articles. That's where you got the evidence. So it was either from Measuring What Matters or Creating Effective Surveys. What evidence did you use? Are you saying aligns with, oh no, I can't find it again. Here it is. I'm sorry about that. So you're just gonna write like what was the design decision? And if it was, this is like non-biased, this is a non-biased question. This question only asks one thing instead of 2. It's whatever the design decision is that you found in the evidence, and then where you found it, which one of those articles, 6 articles that was in. If you want to do research beyond this and find other articles, you're welcome to do that. Just let us know what the articles are and then include the name here. And that is it for the evidence table. And here's the grading rubric, just how you're going to be graded as a group. Every person in the group will receive this exact same grade. You'll get the grade for your project. And if you follow all the instructions and complete it, then you should be able to score very highly on this. I hope that's helpful. And if you have any questions, of course, feel free to email myself or Professor Shannon, or grab us from Moachi, and we'll be happy to assist you further.